Hello, this is Richard Spade from Come Rest Ministries. I'd like to share with you an excerpt from my latest book. It's entitled Suddenly, and I believe it's for a time such as now. One night in the summer 7 years ago, I had a dream, and I was one of 5 people overseeing a massive prayer rally in our city. Things had fallen apart calamitously in our society and world. Large numbers of believers were finally desperate enough to commit themselves to earnest, fervent, regular, spirit-led prayer for our nation and our world. Thousands of folding chairs were set up in an open, deserted parking lot. People arrived in carloads and took their seats, not as spectators, but as true prayer warriors for Christ. We leaders were gathered at the end of the parking lot under the cover of a parking garage. The seats were filling when a terrible storm arrived. Torrential rains pelted the crowd out in the open, yet they held their positions. Just before we began, as the torrents became too heavy, people gave up and headed away in their cars. A woman, one of the leaders, said to me, "Do you see that he is making you a man of prayer?" My flesh winced at the statement because I knew my ambition was to be a man of preaching. But I knew deep down she was right. I nodded my assent. Then I looked up to the sky and lifted my right hand and began to pray, "Father, lift up your hand and take this away." I kept repeating those words to him. The sky was filled with tornadoes, thunder, and lightning. I kept declaring, "Father, lift up your hand and take this away." I saw no change in the violent sky. But then it was as if I was taken up over the city and the interstate highway and able to look inside each of the cars of the people fleeing the rally. And suddenly it happened. Individual believers in each car felt the conviction of the Holy Spirit, and all began turning their cars around to come back to the rally. At the same time I could see all this, I was still standing under the cover of the garage with my right hand lifted to the sky, praying earnestly, fervently, for Father to lift his hand and take the storm away. Nothing about the dark, stormy sky had changed, and the torrential rain was still pelting the people. But it didn't matter. They streamed back to their seats and began to pray. And suddenly it happened. As I continued praying, I saw the sky way up beyond my right hand begin to be torn apart like paper being torn into pieces by invisible hands. Bright, radiant, almost blinding light exploded through the clouds. It was not like the typical passing of a storm, with clouds slowly giving way to the sun. It was violent. Suddenly it happened. The sound of deep, brass music seemed to rise from the ground and envelop us, shaking the earth. Simple strains of piano then interlaced with the brass. Then I saw everyone standing in authoritative prayer, bathed in light, enveloped in music as the dream ended. I awoke from the dream in awe. I opened my devotional Bible, and the psalm of the day was Psalm 86. Please read it. You will see why I thank the Lord as I recall such a summoning, encouraging moment. In this day, in this hour, Spirit-led believers are learning to stand watch in prayer with great faith, hope, and love in these end times. The Lord calls us to join the earthly ranks who make a true priority of earnest, fervent prayer in his secret place. When things suddenly get worse, the Lord will help millions suddenly join us. Let's not wait. Let's be forerunners right now. Storms will come. The Lord is not worried. He knows when to suddenly break through. So keep abiding in the secret place of the Most High, the shadow of the Almighty. Will you lift your right hand right now, doggedly asking him to lift his hand right now and take this storm away? Will you help others learn as well? His suddenlies will always come. And then one day, he will. Suddenly. Thank you.